Have you ever wondered if your privacy is a price worth paying for the security of the state? It's a question that has sparked countless debates and discussions across the globe, and for a good reason. In today's world, where technology is deeply embedded in our lives, the concept of a surveillance state has become more real than ever. A surveillance state is a society where the government closely monitors and regulates its citizens' activities. This is often done under the guise of maintaining social order and security. Sounds pretty Orwellian, doesn't it? But it's not all cloak and dagger stuff. Surveillance state proponents argue that this intensive monitoring is necessary for the greater good. They believe that it aids in crime prevention, helps in the swift resolution of criminal cases, and bolsters national security. In essence, they contend that sacrificing a degree of personal privacy is a small price to pay for the safety of the state and its citizens. On the other side of the coin, there are those who vehemently oppose this viewpoint. They argue that a surveillance state infringes on individual privacy rights. They fear that it could lead to an abuse of power, with the state having the ability to manipulate and control its citizens. They caution that a surveillance state could potentially transform into a dystopian society where the state has unfettered power over its citizens. So we're left with a critical question. Where do we draw the line between security and privacy? Is there a middle ground? Can we enjoy the benefits of a secure state without surrendering our right to privacy? The answer to these questions is complex and nuanced, often shaped by cultural, political, and societal contexts. As we venture further into the 21st century, these questions become increasingly pertinent. In this video, we'll delve into both sides of the argument, exploring the balance between security and privacy in a surveillance state. Whether you're a staunch privacy advocate or a firm believer in state security, our journey through this thorny issue promises to be a thought-provoking one. Stay tuned. First, let's consider the security perspective. From this viewpoint, a surveillance state is a powerful tool for maintaining order and safety. By observing citizens' activities, law enforcement agencies can spot suspicious behavior, thwart potential crimes, and swiftly apprehend criminals. This proactive approach to security may deter potential offenders, who might think twice before committing a crime if they know they're being watched. Surveillance is also instrumental in combating terrorism. By monitoring communications and tracking suspects, intelligence agencies can prevent horrific attacks and save countless lives. The tragic events of the past have shown us the devastating consequences of security failures. Surveillance in this context serves as a vital shield, protecting us from those who threaten our peace and security. Moreover, surveillance can play a crucial role in our digital age, where cyber threats are a growing concern. Cybercriminals often exploit the anonymity of the internet to carry out their nefarious activities. A robust surveillance system can help track these criminals down and protect our online spaces. However, it's important to note that surveillance isn't just about catching the bad guys. It's also about creating a sense of security that enables us to live our lives without constant fear. Knowing that there's a watchful eye deterring criminals and keeping us safe can enhance our sense of security and freedom. That being said, a surveillance state isn't without its challenges. There's the risk of misuse, the potential for errors, and the cost of maintaining such a system. And these are serious considerations that shouldn't be brushed aside. However, proponents of the security perspective argue that these challenges are not insurmountable, and the benefits of a safer society outweigh the potential risks. In conclusion, from a security perspective, surveillance can be seen as a necessary measure in the fight against crime and terrorism. It's a tool that, when used responsibly and effectively, can help us build a safer society. So there's a clear argument that surveillance can contribute to a safer society. But what about the other side of the coin? Now, let's turn our attention to the privacy perspective. When we examine the privacy perspective on surveillance, it's essential to consider the potential dangers this ever-watchful eye may pose. One of the most significant concerns is the infringement on individual rights and freedoms. Privacy is a fundamental human right, recognized in the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights, and many feel that constant surveillance is a direct violation of this right. In a surveillance state, every aspect of our lives becomes an open book, potentially accessible to anyone with the right access. Our personal communications, our movements, our online browsing habits, all of it can be tracked, recorded, and analyzed. This level of scrutiny can create a chilling effect, stifling freedom of speech and expression. After all, if we feel we are always being watched, we may censor ourselves, altering our behavior out of fear of repercussion. Beyond the infringement of individual rights, there's also the danger of misuse of personal data. We live in an information age, and data has become a valuable commodity. In the wrong hands, this data can be used for nefarious purposes, from identity theft to targeted manipulation. There's also the risk of data breaches, where sensitive personal information can fall into the hands of cyber criminals. Furthermore, the concentration of so much data in the hands of a single entity, usually the government, can also be a cause for concern. As the saying goes, absolute power corrupts absolutely. This concentration of information could potentially lead to abuses of power, with those in control using the data to maintain control, suppress dissent, or even manipulate public opinion. Moreover, there's the issue of accuracy. Surveillance technologies are not infallible. Mistakes can be made, leading to false accusations or misinterpretations of data. The consequences of such errors can be devastating for the individuals involved. Clearly, there are serious concerns about the impact of surveillance on our privacy. So, where does this leave us? The challenge, then, is to strike a balance between security and privacy. This indeed is the crux of the matter, a delicate dance between the need to keep our society safe and the desire to maintain our personal freedoms. One possible solution lies in the realm of legal safeguards. Laws could be crafted to limit the extent of surveillance, ensuring it's used only when absolutely necessary. This could involve setting stringent requirements for obtaining surveillance warrants and enforcing severe penalties for any abuse of these powers. In doing so, we may be able to create a system where security is maintained, but not at the expense of privacy. In addition, there's a role for technology to play. Innovative solutions could be developed to allow for effective surveillance, but in a manner that respects individual privacy. Think of it like a digital veil, where only the necessary information is visible, and the rest remains obscured. This could be a game changer, achieving the seemingly contradictory goals of privacy and security simultaneously. Transparency is another key element. Governments and organizations using surveillance tools should be open about their methods, within reason. This would allow for public scrutiny and foster trust. After all, if we're being watched, shouldn't we have a right to know who's doing the watching and why? Finally, we must consider public oversight. Perhaps we could establish independent bodies to monitor the use of surveillance technologies. Their role would be to ensure these tools are used responsibly and to hold to account those who overstep their boundaries. It's a complex issue, with no easy answers. But one thing is clear, the debate around surveillance, security, and privacy is one that affects us all. So let's keep the conversation going, because only by discussing, debating, and questioning can we hope to find a balance that works for everyone. As we've seen, the balance between security and privacy in a surveillance state is a delicate one. This delicate balance is not a new issue, but one that has been brought into sharp focus with the advancements in technology and the ever-increasing data we generate every second of every day. In our journey today, we've explored the two opposing perspectives of this complex issue. On one side, we've seen the security perspective, which argues that surveillance is an essential tool for maintaining national security, preventing crime, and ensuring public safety. Proponents of this view argue that if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear. On the flip side, we've delved into the privacy perspective, which champions the rights of individuals to live free from undue intrusion. Advocates for privacy argue that surveillance can lead to a chilling effect, stifling free speech and breeding self-censorship. They caution that it's not about having something to hide, but about having something to lose, our fundamental human rights. Striking a balance between these two perspectives is no easy task. It's a delicate dance between ensuring the security of society and preserving the privacy of individuals. It's about finding a middle ground where surveillance is used as a tool for good, without infringing upon our right to privacy. This is not a debate where we can simply pick a side and stick to it. It's a conversation that needs to be ongoing, evolving with our technology and societal needs. It's about policymakers and citizens alike understanding the implications, benefits, and potential drawbacks of surveillance. It's about transparency, oversight, and accountability. As we wrap up, it's important to remember that this is not a black and white issue. It's a complex tapestry of gray, one that requires thoughtful consideration and ongoing dialogue. It's about deciding the kind of society we want to live in and what we're willing to accept to get there. The question remains, how much of our privacy are we willing to sacrifice for the sake of security? It's a question that each of us and our society as a whole must grapple with.